how I made 50 div on the way to level 100, really just on those last two levels. We ran Breach because I wanted some fun XP and I added some explodes to the build. So, why not have a little fun with Breach, Herald of Ash, MTX and all that makes it look like an absolute blast. And it was. But we did Jungle Valley. We'll talk about the Scarabs. We'll talk about all of that. But first, we'll just talk about the investment, right? Because this actually made way more currency than I thought it was. And as soon as I realized it was actually pretty profitable and not just kind of like a meme XP farm, I started tracking them. So only for the last two levels, about 70-ish maps, somewhere around like, into 98, I started actually tracking the profit. And the thing was, we, for these 70 maps, put in about 12.6 div, so 1200 chaos. Most of that was just in the 8 mods. So the Scarabs, it's just 4 rusted Breach Scarabs and the Breach Lord. We'll talk about the Atlas tree and all that later too. But the only thing that was expensive was 8 mods, and it's kind of like, just might as well run 8 mods if you can. That was like 12C. Otherwise, it's like 2C for the Scarabs, and then it's just 6C on the map device. And it's just like you get 11 breaches in your map. It was an absolute blast. So it came out to about 100 chaos profit per map, not including breach rings, not including any crazy stuff. We'll talk about that later. But why did I do breaches? Why not other things? Well, breaches, they give really good XP. Well, not really good, but they give a good XP. And I thought it was pretty good. I got about 3% per map at level 99. It took around 35 maps for me to hit level 100 with me dying, but having the Omen of Amelioration there, right? So, it's a little bit less than, a little bit, somewhere around 3, right? Something like that. But why Breach instead of Abyss or whatever? Well, as you can see, you can queue up multiple breaches. If you've got a pretty fun build, I even sold the Mage Blood and bought a Headhunter just so I could run around and, have the cool explodes, have the Headhunter buffs, boost them just a little bit, right? Eventually get a Soul Eater and all that. But you can queue a lot of the breaches up. And with the slower breach node, you don't have to wait for like the travel time of an Abyss or for the Beyond monsters to spawn or something, right? Like, boom, they explode, you let them stack up, you open a couple breaches, you go from the top, boom, right? Kill all those, come to the bottom, boom. And, it's kind of just an absolute blast to be doing a farm like this, especially if you've got some explodes or at least some amount of clear. Again, compared to Abyss, I'm not waiting for an Abyssal Spire to do its 3 projectiles. I'm not waiting for, all right, I don't even know if they do 3 anymore, right? But whatever it is, right? I'm not waiting for Abysses, and the Abyss can't travel too far back outside of the Deli Mirror or too far forward outside of the Deli Mirror. And so that's another one because I'm doing Delirium Mirrors alongside some Beyond as well. So that helps out so much, right? It's fun. I'm not having to like run around. I just open a couple breaches at once, and it just goes like so much faster. With Beyond, everything's in this huge ball that explodes. So that works really, really well for that as well. So let's actually talk about what Scarabs, what Atlas passive tree, and what all we made from this strategy. So the Scarabs, super simple. Like I said, it's just the rusted breach Scarabs. You just do 4 of these, and then you do the Breach Lord Scarab. Breach Scarab. There's a Scarab that makes every area, every breach have a Breach Lord. And with some nodes on the Atlas tree we'll cover, that's really good. And then you get 2 extra breaches for each of these. So you get an extra 8 breaches in your map. And then you do breach on the map device. You get another 3 from this. So we're already at like 9+ breaches, right? Most of my maps had 11 breaches in them. They might have even capped out because I don't know how many maps I even got any procs or whatever with some of these nodes. But yeah, this is just the Scarab setup. You do red altars for your Atlas. This is the Atlas that I ended up doing. And with this one, I wasn't even taking a lot of the Splinter Quant nodes. So you could probably make even more than about 100 chaos per map with this. I also added in Jun just for extra Syndicate missions. I got a Veiled Orb. Didn't count that for the profit because, it's kind of like a big spiky drop. But yeah, I just pathed through June as well. You know, every time you click whatever on a syndicate, you get a little boost of XP, and then you run the safe house. Those are zones that have like 100. Katarina zone has 200% increased experience in that zone, and it's higher level. So that's really nice. And you can get some cool drops, right? So really, you just spam Katarina or try to get Gravitius and Transport. Something like that. But those were the small modifications I made from like a milky breach farming tree. I added in free deli mirrors, pathed over here for extra beyond chance and paint currency, really just for all the extra 8% chance nodes. And then I might as well take that for the 1 point. Then you go to the keystone, so beyond bosses can't spawn, and you know, more just like beyond chance. This node is just for beyond chance. These are just for deli mirror chance. And then I unfortunately couldn't have enough points to get the influence pack size from there as well, but you know, that's not too bad. I didn't have enough points to get this and path here for extra T17, so I just settled with the 2 shapings. And then it's just breach stuff, right? Extra monster density, more hands, and then a breach boss class hand has a 4% chance to spawn a breach boss, right? So that's really cool. Get extra breach splinters. I like the slower, just so I can open a ton of the breaches at the same time, like you were seeing. Kind of blow them all up, and I don't have to like worry like, oh my gosh, like, you know, like you take the faster, you take the faster, you take the faster here, you could take the faster here. But man, the slower is just so much more comfortable to be able to just open a bunch of them, blow them all up, and not have to worry. You take this, obviously, you know, you get a bunch of chance for extra breach hands or extra breaches, and then you have very low chances, but you know, it's pretty fun if it does hit to get like a ton of extra breaches in your map. And then this one is just the contain a boss, and then the breach stone chance and the flawless breach stone chance. I did get, I think, 2 flawless breach stones out of all the breach stones that I was farming. I didn't seem to get too lucky on these, so I kept them in, right? I mean, if I'm dropping like 100 stones or something, there's going to be a couple that are flawless, right? Like that, you know, it's kind of just how the math works out. And then again, here we have the boss, the breach boss chance to double splinter drops, the increased chance for Chayula, and then when a Chayula spawns, he has a 50% chance of being duplicated. And so you get a lot of random little splinters from that. And then you're just blocking random mechanics that you wouldn't want to encounter. Obviously, you leave Breach and Legion. Didn't have enough points to... actually, I wouldn't even block the blueprints anyways. I don't click that stuff most of the time, but... And then obviously you need the Deli Mirror here. But you're just blocking these. You can't get the Scarabs. Gives you extra chance. And it gives you enough chance to guarantee the Delirium Mirror, because the Delirium Mirror has a base of like 8%. So you're at 92, and then you're blocking like these, right? So you have an extra plus 12. So this gets us to more than 100% chance for Delirium Mirrors. And that's nice, because Delirium Mirrors give Quant. You'll see I got some Deli Orbs. You could get a couple clusters. Didn't include those, but that was just free money as well. Then it's just Scarab nodes, right? Like, everybody wants Scarabs. Make a bunch of currency off the Scarabs and all of that. We're getting a lot of rare monsters, so you're going to take a rare monster Scarab node. It's pretty basic stuff. I was a little strapped for points, though. There were some things I had to kind of like drop and give up in order to have this, but I feel like this is fairly well-rounded, you know, for an Atlas passive tree. And then, you know, red altars. You get free Deli, get free Beyond. You get the important breach nodes aside from splinter drops, and I didn't have the Chitula open hand stuff, so that was another thing where I could have gotten extra breach stones quant of splinters and, you know, up here. But I also didn't have the Olnatol nodes. You know, that was another thing I could have done to get more currency, but instead I wanted the Beyond monsters and I wanted the free Delirium Mirror for extra experience. And so what all is the breakdown for all of the currency? Well, it's pretty simple. That was a lot of Chayula breach stones. Like 80C, maybe I could get them sold for 90, even at 80. You know, it's 9 something div. Abominations, we got a lot of those. The default price is 70C. These do not sell for 70. It's more like 90 or more, especially when you get a couple of them. Veiled Orb, got lucky on Katarina. I actually got 2 of these, but obviously that's not going to be priced in. Got some raw div. That's going to happen when you're running a ton of maps with a ton of monsters. Simulacrums from the Deli Mirrors, you know, they kind of don't sell for much at all. 25, 30C, but when you get 20 of them, yeah, that's another 3 whatever Divines, Raw Chaos from Red Altars, Forbidden Tomes, right? And then just random Scarabs. One Flawless Chayula Breachstone from the 20 Breachstones that I got. You know, seems pretty fair. Full Breachstones, 19 of those. A Valdo box, Eldritch, whatever the hell. Just a lot of stuff. And so the actual breakdown was in raw currency, we got about, what is this? 15 div in just like raw currency, just from whatever dropping, whatever from the red altars, all of that. Deli orbs, we got like 2 div. Unfortunately, deli orbs are kind of just like 5C each. These should all be 5. Every deli orb's around like 5 right now in this league. 2 div, 30 something chaos. Probably going to use a lot of these on my own maps so I don't have to buy them. Really, the delirium's there just for the extra monsters and the extra quant that you get. Random fossils. These are just like delirium orb rewards. Essences I just didn't include because it's just a bunch of screaming trash. Random exotic coinage, I think like incubators or something. Fragments, right? Obviously, this is going to be all the stones. So all the breach stones combined, something like 16 div. The scarabs from all of this are about like 9 div. You'd get 2 containments that are 1 div each. But yeah, it's just tons of scarabs, tons of whatever. Obviously, these, probably a little more honestly priced if you do them on your own instead of the Pewee Ninja price, but that is just what it is. And then, yeah, I think that was it. That's all the profit. That's all the running. I didn't even include the breach rings that we got. How many of breach ring? The thing with the breach rings, yeah, I sold 60 of these, so it was 680. But I sold 60 of these for 100 chaos last night just to see if they would actually sell. Priced them cheaper than everybody else. Undercutting them. The thing is, these might sell, or you just turn them in and try to get your own grasping mail. But on TFT, it seems like 60 are selling for 120 chaos or a div. So they're somewhere between 1.5 and 2C each. And I only started tracking the breach rings something like the last 30 maps out of the 70. So these would be like even more, right? And if you can actually get these sold for 2C or get average luck on grasping mails, like, geez, dude, right? This is an extra 1,200. If we do, this would have been around 12 or 1,300 rings if I did them over the 70 maps, right? So 1,300 rings. Let's say we don't even have to sell them at 2C each, right? We could just do 1.5. They're probably going to go down, blah, 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 whatever. Right? That's an extra 12 div in just like breach rings. Like, that would be really sick. Like, wow. Okay, that's an extra for 12 and you just dump them in inventory at a time. That would be pretty nice. The thing with this as well, I only picked up single Chayulas. All the other splinters were either 10 at a time or just the breach stone, which is how I got the breach stones. I didn't ever pick up the random like 1 or 2 splinters. There was a few maps there where I added 5 splinter stacks. I was like, dude, this is cringe. Like, okay, the breach stones are selling for like 20C. I'm just gonna do 10C or 10 stacks, and it was fine. You could do 5. It's really not that big a deal. Also, it's funny, I didn't have chisels on a single drop chisels on my filter for most of these maps. There's a lot of tomfoolery. But yeah, these scarabs are cheap. Highest cost, the 8 mod map on itself, which you kind of just want to do. Everything else, pretty easy. And I was surprised how much XP this gave, how profitable it was. And the one thing I wasn't surprised with, how fun it was, especially if you've got some explosions. Anyways, enjoy this XP farm. I know I probably will use this for future characters, especially have explodes and all of that. It was an absolute blast, and it actually made currency. It wasn't too bad, right? 100C profit per map is not bad when you're also getting hella currency and Katarina drops and whatever else can happen. Anyways, like, sub. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.